Ever held a coin worth thousands? Today, we explore the rare Kennedy half dollar, a piece of history, a tribute to JFK, and a collector's dream. But here's the twist. Some of these coins have hidden secrets, rare errors, and jaw-dropping values. Want to know which ones could make you a fortune? Let's uncover the mystery together. Imagine it's 1972. The world is a different place. The Vietnam War is still ongoing. Watergate is beginning to cast its shadow, and the world of American currency is about to make an unexpected, yet fascinating, turn. In the midst of these monumental events, the U.S. Mint releases a coin that would go on to hold more than just financial value. It would become a symbol, a piece of history, and an intriguing mystery for collectors worldwide. That coin is the 1972 Kennedy half dollar. Let's rewind a bit and talk about how the Kennedy half dollar came to be. It all started shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. To honor the late president's memory, the U.S. Mint decided to introduce a new half-dollar coin that would bear his likeness. The timing was perfect. The coin was issued in 1964, just months after his death. The design was based on a life mask of President Kennedy, and it was unlike any other coin in U.S. history, not just for its emotional connection but for its artistic merit. The reverse of the coin displayed the familiar heraldic eagle, clutching an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. It was a fitting tribute to American ideals, peace and strength, united under the symbol of the eagle. The coin became an instant classic, a beloved token not only of American currency but of the memory of a president who had captured the hearts of millions. But now, let's focus on 1972, a time when the Kennedy half dollar had already been in circulation for 8 years. While the coin had been designed with great care and respect for the memory of JFK, the minting process wasn't always flawless. Over the years, there had been a variety of small changes to the design, and one of the most interesting years to study is 1972. This year is crucial for a reason that many collectors still talk about today: the rare and intriguing 1972 double-die Kennedy half dollar. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1972 double die, let's take a moment to understand what that term means. A double die is a rare error that occurs during the minting process. When the design of the coin is struck into the die, the metal stamp used to imprint the image on each coin. If the die is misaligned, the result can be a doubled image, making it appear as though the design is doubled. In 1972, something went wrong at the Philadelphia Mint, and the result was a series of half dollars that featured a noticeably doubled design. What's remarkable about this error is how distinct it is. The most noticeable doubling on the 1972 Kennedy half dollar can be found in the inscriptions on the obverse, specifically the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you look closely, you'll see a shadowed, ghostly outline of the lettering next to the primary letters. It's as if the coin has two versions of the words, one slightly off from the other, giving it a blurry, almost ethereal quality. This visual oddity was so striking that it quickly caught the eye of numismatists and coin collectors. This wasn't just a slight flaw, either. The 1972 double die error is one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage. The doubling is strong enough to be easily visible to the naked eye, which makes it especially appealing to collectors. However, despite its beauty and uniqueness, the 1972 double-die Kennedy half dollar wasn't immediately recognized for its value. It wasn't until later that collectors began to realize how rare these coins were, and their desirability surged. Now, let's talk about the specifics of the minting process. In 1972, the U.S. Mint produced half dollars at both the Philadelphia and Denver Mint locations. However, only the Philadelphia Mint struck the double die error, making these coins incredibly rare. Out of the millions of half dollars produced that year, only a small number ended up with the double die variety. The 1972 double die Kennedy half dollar became an anomaly, an error coin that seemed almost too beautiful to be a mistake. While most 1972 Kennedy half dollars are relatively common, the double die version is a rarity that collectors actively seek. The market for these coins began to heat up in the 1980s, and their value has only continued to rise since then. As with all rare coins, the value of a 1972 double die Kennedy half dollar can vary depending on its condition. Coins that are well preserved and free of damage tend to command higher prices, especially when they are graded by professional services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. But here's the big question that every collector is asking. How much is this coin worth today? Well, the answer may surprise you. In pristine, gem-quality condition, a 1972 Kennedy half dollar with the double die error can fetch upwards of $120,000. Yes, you heard that right, $120,000. For a coin that was originally intended to be just another piece of U.S. currency, the 1972 double die Kennedy half dollar has transformed into a treasure that captures the essence of American history and numismatic mystery. So, what makes this coin so valuable? It's a combination of rarity, error, and historical significance. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar is more than just a coin. It's a snapshot of an era, a connection to the legacy of John F. Kennedy, and a testament to the unpredictability of minting errors that can turn a simple coin into a sought-after relic. And with the rising interest in coin collecting and the continued fascination with Kennedy's legacy, it's no surprise that the value of this coin has skyrocketed in recent years. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, particularly the double die variety, represents more than just financial worth. It's a piece of American history that brings us back to a time when a nation was dealing with loss, uncertainty, and change. It's a reminder that even in the world of coins, history can be written in unexpected ways. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar may have started its journey as a tribute to a fallen president, but for many collectors, it's become much more. It's a rare treasure, a piece of art, and a symbol of the incredible stories that can be hidden in the smallest of objects. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar is a coin that speaks to the heart of numismatics and the enduring fascination with the coins that define our history. And now, as promised, we come to the final reveal, the coin's current value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1972 Kennedy half dollar with the double die error in excellent condition, you could be holding a coin worth up to $120,000. It's a remarkable sum for a coin that, to most people, is just another piece of currency. But for those in the know, it's a rare gem that proves the world of numismatics can be full of surprises. Top 2. Picture this. It's the late 1970s, a time of political and social shifts in America. The nation is coming to terms with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, while the energy crisis and the rise of new technologies are reshaping the future. Amidst these changes, the U.S. Mint is quietly at work, creating coins that will go on to become part of the nation's currency history. One of these coins is the 1979 Kennedy half dollar, a coin that might seem like just another issue at first glance, but holds within it some fascinating history, design quirks, and an impressive value that many collectors are only just beginning to realize. Let's go back a little further, though, and understand where the Kennedy half dollar came from and why the 1979 coin would stand out. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, following his tragic assassination in 1963. It quickly became a symbol of the nation's mourning, respect, and admiration for JFK. His likeness graced the coin's obverse, while the reverse featured a heraldic eagle, evoking both the strength and ideals of the United States. However, over the years, the design of the Kennedy half dollar would undergo several changes. The original design, created by artist Gilroy Roberts, had been seen as a powerful tribute, but it soon became clear that the coin would need to adapt to the changing times. as the mint often adjusted the design and features of coins to reflect both aesthetic preferences and advances in minting technology. By the time we reach 1979, the Kennedy half-dollar had been in circulation for over a decade. It had already earned its place in the heart of American numismatics, but in 1979, there were significant changes that would impact its future, particularly when it came to its design and its collector appeal. In the late 1970s, the mint was trying to update its coinage production methods to reduce the rising cost of metals, which was becoming a serious concern due to inflation. One notable adjustment was the change in the composition of the half-dollar. By 1979, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned from using 90% silver to a clad composition for the Kennedy half-dollar. This move, while more economical, had a significant impact on the appearance and value of the coin. It was now primarily made up of copper and nickel, with only a thin layer of silver at the core, making the coin less valuable in terms of its metal content. However, despite the change, the Kennedy half-dollar remained a widely circulated coin, and its appeal among collectors continued to grow. But the design changes weren't just about the materials used. A new issue emerged in 1979, one that set the coin apart from its predecessors. The 1979 Kennedy half-dollar coin experienced an unusual and rare minting error, an error that would become one of the most highly sought-after features of this particular coin. What happened was a remarkable, though unintended, result of the mint's production process. A few of the 1979 coins were struck with a misalignment that created a doubling effect on the design elements of the coin. Now, to understand what that means, let's talk a little bit about what's known as double die errors. These occur when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or incorrectly struck, resulting in a doubling of the image or text. For the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar, this meant that the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the obverse of the coin, as well as parts of the Kennedy portrait, appeared to be doubled, creating a unique and desirable visual effect that collectors would eventually seek out. This wasn't just a minor flaw, this was a substantial mistake in the minting process, and it led to a truly one-of-a-kind coin that didn't just hold sentimental value due to its historical significance, but was also coveted for its distinct and rare error. The doubling effect was clearly visible to the naked eye, and as soon as collectors began to spot it, demand for these specific 1979 Kennedy half-dollars grew significantly. But what makes the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar even more interesting is that it wasn't just one or two coins that suffered from this error. It was a small percentage of the total production that year, making these double die coins particularly rare. While the majority of 1979 Kennedy half-dollars were minted without any issues, those that featured the double die were few and far between. And, like all rare errors in the numismatic world, the fewer the coins available, the higher the demand, and therefore the higher the price. Over time, the market for these rare 1979 Kennedy half-dollars grew, and their value began to rise as word spread about their unique characteristics. Collectors, numismatists, and investors alike started to take notice of these coins, and the rarity of the double die variety was officially recognized. But the rise in value wasn't instantaneous. In fact, the first few decades after the coin's release didn't see a huge surge in prices, and many collectors were still unsure about the coin's true worth. It wasn't until the 1990s and early 2000s that interest in the 1979 double die Kennedy half-dollar really began to take off. As the coin's rarity became more widely acknowledged, its value skyrocketed. Now, the coin is considered a true numismatic treasure, highly sought after by collectors across the world. But what's the current value of the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar? If you've been following the coin market, you might have a good idea where this is going. A 1979 Kennedy half-dollar in near-perfect condition, with the double die error, can fetch upwards of $110,000 at auction, depending on its grade. That's right, $110,000. A coin that was originally created to circulate as regular currency, now valued at a six-figure amount. It's a testament to the power of rarity and the unexpected ways in which errors in minting can transform a coin into a precious collectible. Why does this 1979 coin, in particular, command such a high price? The rarity of the double die error, combined with the historical significance of the Kennedy half dollar and the growing appeal of coin collecting as a hobby and investment, all contribute to its impressive value. There's also the emotional attachment to President John F. Kennedy himself, whose image still resonates with many people today. The coin represents both the man and the era, making it more than just a piece of currency. It's a piece of history. As we wrap up this exploration of the 1979 Kennedy half dollar, it's amazing to consider how something as simple as a minting error could lead to such a dramatic transformation in the value of a coin. This coin, once a humble piece of U.S. currency, has grown to become an iconic collectible. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just getting started, the 1979 Kennedy half dollar offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of numismatics, where even the smallest details, like a double die, can have a huge impact on a coin's worth. So, the next time you come across a 1979 Kennedy half dollar in your collection or while searching through your spare change, take a closer look. You might just be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1979 Kennedy half dollar is a shining example of just how valuable a simple mistake can become. Top 3. The year is 1982, and the world is witnessing significant transitions. In the United States, the economic landscape is shifting as the nation moves further away from the turbulent 1970s and into a new era of prosperity and change. On the global stage, the Cold War tensions continue, but there's also a sense of optimism as the country begins to recover from the economic struggles of the previous decade. Amidst all this, something seemingly ordinary is happening at the U.S. Mint. A coin, part of a long-standing tribute, is quietly being produced. The coin in question, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar. You might think, it's just another year in the series. But this coin would come to hold much more significance for collectors. To fully understand the importance of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar, though, we need to explore the coin's history, its design evolution, and, of course, the surprising rarity that would define its value many years later. Let's start with the history of the Kennedy half dollar itself. Introduced in 1964, the coin was created as a tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy, following his assassination in 1963. His death left a profound mark on the nation, and the Kennedy half dollar was designed to honor both his memory and his legacy. The design of the coin featured a portrait of JFK, created by artist Gilroy Roberts, which became one of the most recognizable depictions of a U.S. president on a coin. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicted the American bald eagle, with its wings spread wide, holding an olive branch and a bundle of arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. It was a fitting tribute to a president who had inspired hope and progress during his brief time in office. But as time went on, the Kennedy half dollar, like all coins, went through some changes. The most significant change came in 1971, when the U.S. Mint stopped using silver for most circulating coins, and instead used a copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1982 Kennedy half dollar, just like those minted in the previous decade, would be composed of this new metal mixture. While the shift to clad coins was necessary due to rising silver prices, it did change the value of the coin in terms of its metal content. However, the real story behind the 1982 Kennedy half dollar lies in a fascinating minting error that would make it a standout among its peers. But before we get into that, let's talk a little about how the coin was minted. The Mint's standard process for producing these coins involved creating a die that would be used to strike the design onto a blank coin planchet. The process was precise, as the Mint sought to ensure that each coin was as uniform as possible. But as with any large-scale minting process, errors do occasionally slip through, and the 1982 Kennedy half dollar was no exception. As it turns out, A small number of the 1982 Kennedy half dollars were struck with a wide rim or no FG error. This meant that some of the coins didn't have the FG initials of the designer, Frank Gasparo, visible on the reverse of the coin, just below the eagle's tail. This was a significant oversight, as the designer's initials were supposed to be there to fulfill the legal requirements for all U.S. coins. This error was not immediately noticed, but when it was, it caused a stir among collectors. Coins with the no FG error were extremely rare, and because they were missing such an important detail, they stood out. The absence of these initials made these coins a highly sought-after anomaly in the numismatic world. As collectors began to realize how rare these no FG 1982 Kennedy half dollars were, demand for these coins surged, driving their value up significantly. But why would the missing initials make such a difference in value? The reason lies in the rarity and uniqueness of the error. When a coin is struck with a mistake, it often becomes a collectible item. It's not just about having a coin that's part of a series. It's about owning one of the rare, unexpected versions of that coin. In the case of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar, the absence of the FG initials made it a true error coin, one that stood out among the millions of coins that had been minted that year. These no FG coins quickly became highly desirable among collectors who understood their rarity. But while the error coin story is fascinating in its own right, it's also important to take a look at the larger context of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar. Despite the fact that the coin was issued in a year with fewer notable events in American history compared to earlier years, it would go on to carry a piece of history of its own. For many collectors, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar represents a snapshot of the era, an era that saw a nation in transition, a time when the economy was starting to recover, and the Cold War was slowly winding down. By the time we reached the 1990s, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar had started to gain attention in the numismatic world, especially those coins with the error. However, even without the error, the coin had begun to hold more appeal. While it was not as rare as some of its predecessors, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar, with its deep historical connection and symbolic design, continued to attract collectors looking to complete their collections of Kennedy series coins. So, you might be wondering, what is the value of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar today? While a typical 1982 Kennedy half dollar might not be worth much more than its face value, the error coins with the no FG feature have seen their value rise dramatically. In excellent condition, a 1982 Kennedy half dollar with the no FG error can now fetch up to $104,000 at auction. That's right, $104,000 for a coin that was originally minted as part of regular circulation. It's a testament to how rare and highly valued this particular error coin has become over time. The value of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar with the no FG error is driven by its rarity, its status as an error coin, and the continued interest in the Kennedy series as a whole. When collectors talk about high-value coins, they often mention the rare and unusual errors that make certain coins stand out. The 1982 no FG error coin is a prime example of how an unexpected mistake during the minting process can turn a regular coin into a highly sought-after treasure. As we conclude, it's clear that the 1982 Kennedy half dollar is much more than just another coin in the series. It's a symbol of American history, a representation of the nation during a time of transition, and a perfect example of how the world of numismatics can turn even the smallest of mistakes into something remarkable. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or a newcomer to the hobby, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar holds a special place in the world of rare coins, and with its impressive value today, it continues to capture the imaginations of collectors everywhere. In the last but certainly not the least of our top 4 most fascinating Kennedy half dollars, we have the 1998 edition, a coin that may seem unremarkable at first glance, but holds a surprisingly high place in the world of rare numismatics. While the world was focused on the tech boom and the rise of the internet, this coin was quietly being minted, destined to become a hidden gem in collectors' hands. What makes the 1998 Kennedy half dollar so special? Let's uncover the story behind its stunning value. It's 1998, a year that's brimming with change and innovation. The tech boom is well underway, with the internet starting to revolutionize how people connect and communicate. In the United States, the economy is in a strong growth phase after overcoming the 1990s recession. But as this fast-paced, changing world moves forward, something seemingly simple and overlooked by most people is quietly happening in the U.S. Mint: the production of the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar coin. Now, you might think, a half-dollar? That doesn't seem all that exciting. But in the world of numismatics, every coin tells a story, and the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is no exception. In fact, it's a coin that holds a fascinating place in history, with a design that continues the legacy of one of America's most beloved presidents. A minting process that saw both traditional and modern techniques in use, and a collector's market that would see this coin rise in value over the years. Before we jump into the story of the 1998 coin, let's take a brief journey through the history of the Kennedy half-dollar itself. The coin was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, who had tragically been assassinated the year before. The United States, deeply shaken by the loss of its president, wanted a way to honor his legacy, and so the U.S. Mint created a coin bearing his likeness. The original design of the Kennedy half-dollar, created by artist Gilroy Roberts, featured a portrait of JFK on the obverse. This image would become one of the most iconic representations of a U.S. president on a coin. On the reverse, artist Frank Gasparo designed the American eagle, symbolizing strength and unity. The Kennedy half-dollar quickly became a beloved part of U.S. currency, and it's been a staple of American coinage ever since. Now, you might wonder why the Kennedy half-dollar, introduced so many decades ago, continues to capture the attention of collectors, especially with a coin like the 1998 version, which seems like just another year in the long history of the coin. The truth is, even in years where the design remains the same, coins can hold significant value, not just for their metal content, but for their rarity, condition, and the historical events that surround them. By 1998, the Kennedy half-dollar had undergone several important changes, particularly in its composition. In 1965, the U.S. Mint had stopped using 90% silver for most of its circulating coins due to rising silver prices, and the Kennedy half-dollar was no exception. From 1965 onward, the coin was minted in a copper-nickel-clad composition. For collectors, this meant that the half-dollar had lost much of its intrinsic silver value. However, the coin still carried immense appeal because of its connection to President Kennedy's legacy and the design's symbolic meaning. In 1998, the Kennedy half-dollar was still being produced primarily for collectors, as the coin was no longer widely circulated in everyday transactions. The U.S. Mint had stopped producing large quantities of circulating Kennedy half-dollars in the early 1970s, as there was little demand for them in regular commerce. Instead, the coins were minted in limited quantities for special purposes, such as for coin sets or collector's editions. But it wasn't just the fact that the coin was being minted in smaller numbers that made it interesting. It's the context of the time that really gives the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar a unique place in numismatic history. The late 1990s were a period of intense change, and many collectors began to take a new interest in coinage from past decades. The popularity of coin collecting was on the rise, and many people started to seek out specific dates, such as the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, as part of their pursuit to build complete collections. The design of the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar remained unchanged from previous years. The obverse still featured a young and dignified portrait of President Kennedy, facing left with his iconic hair swept back. The reverse still displayed the eagle, clutching the olive branch and arrows, a symbol of peace and strength. While the design had stayed the same for decades, it continued to evoke powerful emotions in those who held the coin. For collectors, the connection to JFK's legacy was not something to be overlooked. However, while the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar seemed like just another coin in the ongoing series, There was something unique about it: its minting details. During this time, the U.S. Mint was using modern minting techniques, which allowed for more precise and clean strikes than earlier coins. But this also meant that coins minted during the 1990s, including the 1998 version, had a higher likelihood of achieving high grades when sent in for certification by grading services. What does this mean for the coin's value? Well, it means that, as a collectible, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar could potentially be worth more than its face value if it was in pristine condition. A coin with a higher grade would be considered a more valuable specimen by collectors, and that would increase its appeal. In the case of the 1998 Kennedy half dollar, its value wasn't necessarily driven by rarity, since the coin wasn't especially scarce, but rather by the state of preservation and its appeal to collectors looking to complete their sets of Kennedy half dollars from various years. But it wasn't until several years after its release that collectors began to truly appreciate the significance of the 1998 Kennedy half dollar. By the 2000s, coin collectors were beginning to see a surge in interest in coins from the late 20th century. And when the internet began to make it easier to connect with other collectors and research the value of specific coins, interest in coins like the 1998 Kennedy half dollar began to rise. Over time, the 1998 coin's value continued to grow, especially as interest in Kennedy half dollars intensified. While the coin wasn't a rare one in terms of mintage numbers, there were still certain qualities that made it highly desirable in the world of numismatics. For instance, coins in perfect condition, graded as MS-67 or higher, could command higher prices, as collectors sought to find the best examples from the series. The 1998 Kennedy half dollar, with its sharp design, excellent strike, and high-grade potential, started to make waves in the market. And then, there's the fascinating factor of the coin's value being affected by the changing tastes of collectors. As time went on, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar became one of the more coveted years for those seeking to add a coin from the 1990s to their collection. Its price continued to rise, particularly for coins in near-perfect condition. Some of the highest graded examples of the 1998 Kennedy half dollar reached astonishing values, especially when certified by major grading companies like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC) or Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS). So, just how valuable is the 1998 Kennedy half dollar today? In excellent condition, the coin can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to a few hundred, depending on its grade. But for the highest quality examples, those that are pristine with no visible wear and a perfect strike, the value skyrockets. Some 1998 Kennedy half dollars have been known to sell for as much as $69,000 at auction, depending on their grade, certification, and market conditions. Yes, $69,000 for a coin that many people wouldn't think twice about throwing in their pocket change. But how does a coin like the 1998 Kennedy half dollar go from being a relatively unnoticed piece of currency to a highly sought-after treasure? It's a combination of factors: its historical significance, its iconic design, the rarity of high-grade specimens, and the growing interest in the Kennedy half dollar series over the years. For collectors who focus on minting errors or those who specialize in specific years, the 1998 coin is an important piece of the puzzle. It's amazing to think about how a coin that was produced in relatively large quantities can become a collector's dream. But this is the magic of numismatics, the idea that what seems ordinary on the surface can carry great value with the right context and rarity. In conclusion, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar is more than just a piece of currency. It's a coin that carries with it the legacy of one of America's most beloved presidents. Over time, it has gained significance in the world of coin collecting and has become a highly sought-after piece for numismatists. Whether it's the high-grade specimens or the timeless appeal of JFK's image, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. And with a current value of up to $69,000, it's clear that the coin continues to shine brightly in the world of rare and collectible coins. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed learning about the 1998 Kennedy half dollar, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the world of rare coins and their incredible stories. Who knows what hidden treasures we'll uncover next?